everybody, it's Brian.
And Logan, and today we will be showing you our Marincess Deck profile that we played in the Next Deck Duels that is in the previous video.
So I spent about the last week or so trying to build this, and I did opt to go the frog route, but as you saw in the Next Deck Duels, this does not have a very great frog matchup. So let's get into the card choices. For your starter cards, you absolutely have to play Blue Tang at 3. Blue Tang is your Foolish Burial for the deck. It sends any Marincess monster from your deck to your graveyard, and once it gets linked away or once it just goes from the field to the graveyard, it is Pot of Duality. You excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, and then if you find a Marincess card, you can add it to your hand. Next off, play 3 Marincess Seahorse. This is a secondary play starter, also functions as an extender. This card just specials itself from your hand to a link arrow. It also has a secondary effect where the turn that it was not sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard and then special summon any water monster from your hand to an arrow of a link pointer. And then for the last of the Marincess monsters, I play 2 Marincess Mandarin. This card is basically just a secondary copy of Sea Archiver with the Marincess in its name, which is why you play it, because you can excavate it and add it to your hand, or you can also Foolish Burial it off of Blue Tang. So what this card does is if you control 2 or more Marincess monsters while this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can target 1 water link monster you control and special summon this card to a zone that that monster points to. The only downside to this card is that it is not a recurable resource, because once it leaves the field, it gets banished. For extenders, I chose to play the 2 Sea Archiver. This card just special summons itself from the hand or the graveyard whenever a monster is special summoned to a link arrow, but then once again, it's banished once it leaves the field. And then for the frog lineup, play 3 Swap, 2 Dupe, and 2 Ronin Totem.
Wow, look at my sons. Even though they're common, I still love them equally.
This is a great extender package because A, they're all water monsters, and B, Swap Frog just allows you so many special summons just by discarding water monsters to your graveyard. A lot of your cards will function well in the graveyard, and you can recur your resources out of the graveyard with your link monsters. So this is just a really good package. Plus, if you manage to get totally awesome on field, you get a free negation. This isn't a tier 1 deck by any means, so we need to play Ash Blossom to compete with the tier 1 decks. Into the spells, 3 Signet Mining. First and foremost, this is your main searcher. It's like playing 6 copies of any of your Marincess cards. This card searches you any Cyberse card, and all the cost is just a discard, so half of your cards function in your graveyard anyway, so this really helps. Opted to play not 1, but 2 Marincess Battle Ocean, the field spell. This card is searchable off of Marincess Sea Angel, which is in your extra deck. This card has so many effects, and it's so important, so you can't lose it. Cosmic Cyclone is really, really prevalent in the format right now, so if they banish your lone copy, it's always good, and I found it's better to have a second one than to not have one at all. So playing 2 is really crucial. But what this card does is that all of your Marincess monsters that you control gain 200 attack, and then for each card that is equipped to a Marincess Link monster, that monster gains 600 attack. So what this card does is when a Marincess Link monster is link summoned to the extra monster zone, you can equip up to 3 Marincess Link monsters from your graveyard to that card, and this card also provides you protection by stating that if any Marincess Link monster was link summoned using Marincess Crystal Heart, that monster is unaffected by all card effects. So this card is absolutely crucial to the deck. You cannot lose this card. We are relatively a combo deck, so I chose to play 3 Called by the Grave. I changed this last minute. I was playing 2 Called by the Grave and 1 Foolish Burial, but Foolish Burial just didn't come up as often as I thought it would, so I opted to play the 3 Called by the Grave just so we can make sure all of our plays go through, and it also functions as a trap. Everything is almost searchable in your deck, so once you get it all out, Pot of Desires card says draw 2, better to have more resources in your hand. And then for traps, 3 Marincess Wave. This card is basically your in-archetype impermanence, and if you control a link 3 or higher Marincess monster, you can just activate this card from your hand, which is absolutely insane. It has a really cool protection effect too, where when you target one of your opponent's monsters and negate its effect, and you control a Marincess link 2 or higher, all of your monsters are unaffected by card effect. Not just your Marincess, but all of them. So this card is unreal. Then we just play a small Solemn package, 3 Judgment, 1 Warning. You really want to protect your field spell, so this is definitely the way to do it. This deck does not function well without the field spell, so this is just your protection and also your negations. And then to round out the main deck, 2 Paleozoic Deinonymiscus and 2 Compulse. This removes anything, and this just removes monsters. Self-explanatory. These are, I think, just the best generic traps going first or second. Onto the extra deck, I played 2 Marincess Blue Slug. This is typically one of your starter cards. It just adds any Marincess monster from your graveyard to your hand.
I don't know why to name all these monsters after the same color.
This card also just locks you into water monsters for the rest of the turn, so that's a little inconvenient, but it does work out. You play one Marincess Sea Angel. This card on summon just adds your field spell from your deck to your hand, and believe it or not, this little arrow to the left really helps.
Oh wow, another sea card. Seahorse, Sea Angel. Okay.
You play one copy of Marincess Crystal Heart just for the combo. A lot of people play 3. I chose to play 2 Marincess Coral Anemone. This card is probably the best card in your extra deck. It is just a free monster reborn for any Marincess card to an arrow that this card points to on summon, and then its secondary effect is whenever it leaves the field, whether it's equipped to a monster or whether it's just linked away or destroyed by battle, you can add any Marincess card from your graveyard to your hand. Also chose to play 2 Marincess Marble Rock. Once per turn, you can just add any Marincess card from your graveyard back to your hand, and then this card offers you battle protection in the battle phase by discarding a Marincess monster from your hand to your graveyard. All your Marincess cards cannot be destroyed by battle, and you take no battle damage for that turn. You play your one Marincess Wonderheart. This is the win condition of the deck. This is the whole card that I built the deck around. This card says once per battle during damage calculation, if this card battles a monster, quick effect, you can special summon one of your Marincess monsters that is equipped to this card, and it cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no battle damage. This card is basically a better version of Marbled Rock, and it gets you a +1 during the battle phase to go in and push for more damage. Plus, at the end phase, this card will just re-equip the card that was special summoned off of it right back to it, so you don't lose anything if you don't want to. Nightmare Pack is just generic removal. The one Boral Sword, because you play frogs, so frogs allow you to go into Boral Sword in one turn, so this card is just an easy win condition. The one spicy tech of the extra deck is Shooting Code Talker. This card is a water monster and it is a Cyberse monster, so it does not affect you under any of your Marincess restrictions. And then this card reads, at the start of the battle phase, you can activate this effect. This battle phase, this card can make attacks on your opponent's monster up to the number of monsters that this card currently points to +1. As an added bonus, at the end of each battle phase, you can draw cards equal to the number of monsters that this card destroyed by battle. This card is insane. It's a +2, or if you're just going into OTK, this card can attack twice. You'll typically have 2 to 3 more monsters on field. This is just your OTK enabler for Marincess. It's Boral Sword while you're locked under your Marincess card, so this card's nutty. And then to round off the extra deck,
my special boy,
we played 2 Totally Awesome. Huge shout out to our boy Zach Alder. We met him at the Catskill Regional. He was nice enough to give us this incredible French copy of Totally Awesome. This card is just so beautiful, and we needed an extra one. So Zach, love you buddy if you're watching this. And then moving off to the side deck, this deck does not deal well with big monsters, so I chose to play 3 Kaiju and 3 Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. This card just breaks boards going second, and then allows you to OTK just a little bit easier. All you gotta do is go into your Marincess plays. This plus any Marincess starter is OTK, so this is absolutely incredible. These cards are perfect. And then this deck also does not get over back row well, so I opted to play Hey Trunade and 3 Red Reboot. This will just bounce all set cards back. This card just has no to trap, so if you can pop all your opponent's back row in one turn and then just go in and OTK them, these cards will allow you to do that, and it's just super easy. And then the last slot for your side deck can literally be anything you want it to be. It can be Twin Twisters, it can be evenly matched, but I chose to play 3 Prohibition because this deck loses to Nibiru like nobody's business. So if you can side this going first and or second and you open it, all you gotta do is call Nibiru and it's basically a free play. I wish I saw this card in Next Deck Duels because I wouldn't have sucked and lost, so. Thanks, Prohibition, for not showing up.
Well, that sounds like someone who's really bitter, but that's okay. There's always next week.
So this is what the deck looks like profiled out all the way. A lot of people have asked what this deck would look like if we decided to take the frogs out. So to answer that question, if we remove the 7 frogs, my choices for cards would be a 3rd Sea Archiver, 1 Mooling Glacia, believe it or not, 3 copies of Field Barrier because you need to protect your field spell, the 1 Foolish Burial, and then the 3rd copy of Dinomischus. So this is what I would play if it was not the frog engine and it was just pure Marincess. I think this is a very strong version also. Even though you guys saw how this deck worked on Next Deck Duels, let's just do a couple test hands to show its consistency and maybe go through a couple combo tutorials in the process. So we'll just do a couple little shuffles right here, and we'll offer to our opponent who will cut, and then we will draw our first 5. So, wow, that is pretty great. So I would first start off with Sign Up Mining, ditching the Rodent Totem. This will grab our Seahorse. We'll then normal summon Blue Tang, activating Blue Tang's effect, sending the Mandarin to the graveyard. We'll then link off into our Blue Slug. This will be Chain Link 1, this will be Chain Link 2. So add your Mandarin back to your hand, and then Blue Tang will reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. And if you see a Marincess card, you can add it to your hand. We will just take this Seahorse. Seahorse will then special to an arrow. You link it off into your Sea Angel. Sea Angel will then activate, searching your field spell. And then because you have 2 or more Marincess monsters, you could target Sea Angel and then special Mandarin to the arrow in which it points to, which will then trigger your Sea Archiver to special summon. I always special summon it to the farthest zone away because you don't want to interfere with any of your link pointers. You can link your Blue Slug and your Sea Angel off into your Coral Anemone. Coral Anemone will then activate, special summoning any water monster with 1500 or less attack points to its arrow. Then you could link your Seahorse and your Mandarin, which will then be banished once it leaves the field, into your Crystal Heart. Go ahead and activate your field spell, and then you can link your Sea Archiver, which will then once again be banished, and your Coral Anemone into your Marbled Rock. Anemone will activate, and so will Marbled Rock. You can add back your Blue Tang, and then because you're gonna have 3 or more Marincess Link monsters already in your graveyard, you can send back your Sea Angel to your extra deck. And then you can link your 3, and this would count as 1, into your Wonder Heart, which is now officially unaffected by card effects due to your field spell because you used Crystal Heart as material. Battle Ocean will then activate, and you will equip 1, 2, 3 cards to this, bumping it up to 4,400 and making it unaffected by all your opponent's card effects. We really do wish that we had a trap here instead of Dupe Frog, but that's okay. If we had a little bit of protection, it would be a little bit more convenient, but your field spell is wide open, so if they get rid of the field spell, you are not unaffected by card effects anymore, and this is no longer 44, it's just a 2,400 beater sitting on the field, which isn't really incredible, so having that protection is key. But if you do make it into your next turn with this exact same setup, the OTK would be normal summon Blue Tang, activate Blue Tang's effect. You already have Seahorse in hand still, so you'll send your second copy of Mandarin to the graveyard. You'll link Blue Tang off again into your second copy of Blue Slug, chain 1, chain 2. I typically just add back the Blue Tang and then reveal 3. Whiff. Because you have the Seahorse in hand, it will special to an arrow in which this points to, and then you would link for 2. You'll go into your second copy of Coral Anemone. Coral Anemone now will activate. This is the important part. You have to special summon Blue Slug to the left pointing arrow. And then because you control 2 or more Marincess monsters, Mandarin will then special summon to Wonder Heart's arrow, and then you will link Anemone and Mandarin into Shooting Code Talker. Anemone will then activate. Once again, recurring your Seahorse back to your hand. So you have your play starters for every single turn in your hand, and then now you can enter the battle phase. Declare Shooting Code Talker's effect. It points to 1, so this now can make 2 attacks. In the damage step, this will activate. You can special summon your Marbled Rock, and now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attacks, and 3 of them are bumped up 200 by your Battle Ocean. This is unaffected by all of your opponent's card effects, and then if you do not kill them, you get to draw at least 2 cards off of this. This deck, as you can see, can just OTK like nobody's business, but let's do one more test hand just to see how consistent it can be. We'll offer our opponent a cut in which we will see Dinomischus, Sign Up Mining, Desires, Swap Frog, Ash. So what I would do here, I would activate the mining to get rid of the Desires, honestly, and then we would search out our Blue Tang. So we start our hand with Blue Tang and Swap Frog, which is an incredible combo. So we will start off by normal summoning Blue Tang, activating Blue Tang's effect to send the Seahorse. We will then link Blue Tang off into Blue Slug, chain 1, chain 2. This will add our Seahorse back to hand, and we will excavate 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's great. We'll take the Mandarin, and then we will discard our Mandarin to special summon our Swap Frog, activating Swap Frog's effect. Swap Frog will send Rodent Totem. We can then special summon the Seahorse, link the Seahorse off into our Sea Angel, activate Sea Angel's effect, searching the field spell. Once again, you control 2 Marincess monsters with an arrow, so Mandarin will special itself. You will then link the Blue Slug, and you have to link off the Swap Frog into your Coral Anemone. Coral Anemone will then activate to special summon Swap Frog. You can reactivate Swap Frog's effect. This will Foolish Burial go Dupe Frog. So what I would do here is I would banish our Dupe Frog to special summon our Rodent Totem, overlay into our Totally Awesome, activate the field spell. You can link your Anemone and your Sea Angel into your Crystal Heart. Anemone will then activate, add back your Blue Tang, and then you can link your Wonder Heart and your Mandarin, which will then be banished, into your Marbled Rock, which once again will then activate, where you can add back any of your Marincess Link monsters to your extra deck. I'll choose Sea Angel, which will then activate the field spell to equip Marbled Rock, Corlin Enemy, and Crystal Heart. So now you have a free negation off of Toad, battle protection because you have Blue Tang in hand still, and because of the field spell and the equips, this card is at 4,500 unaffected by card effects. You can also set your Dino-Miscus for interruption. Your opponent's standby phase, you'll detach the Ron, special summoning the Dupe Frog so that your opponent can now only attack into this. So this is a pretty insane board. And then of course next turn, standby phase, you'll just detach your Swap Frog, special summoning another Swap Frog, activate Swap Frog's effect to dump your second Ron. You'll then banish the Swap, special the Ron, and you could link all 4 of these away into your Boral Sword. Once again, banish Swap, special Ron, banish Dupe, special Ron, overlay into the second Toad. You still have a play starter in hand if you need it, and you have Ash if you didn't use it last turn. You have Boral Sword, totally awesome, and Marbled Rock still unaffected by card effects. This combo is absolutely insane. So that wraps up the deck profile, guys. We just want to say thank you for checking this out, spending some time with us. If you want some cards, feel free to go check out our TCG player link, which will be in the description box down below. We have an Instagram, you can go follow it. It's at CrushCardsYGO. We just want to say thanks once again to Cardboard Gaming for these amazing custom field centers. He does custom field centers, custom proxies,
and tokens. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. If you have any comments or if you have any questions or things that you would do in this build that you think would be different than ours, feel free to say so in the comments and have a little chit chat with us. We always respond as much as we can, as often as we can, so don't be shy. Come talk to me. I want to talk to you. We can talk to each other. Thanks, guys. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you want more cool deck profiles from our Next Deck Duels. And if you want to check out Next Deck Duels, it'll be the video before this one. So go look there if you want to. I love you. You guys are great. You're amazing. You matter. Bye.
Thanks for hanging out.